we are ready to start. I'm very happy to see so many of you here. We have 210 people registered, and even more are watching the live stream. So welcome to you as well. Working together is part of the purpose of life. Together for Inclusion is the theme of our conference. Inclusion of each other, inclusion of youth, inclusion of people, old and new. Together with you, together with your ideas and your dreams. NordMatch is a platform for finding colleagues, old and new, and for sharing ideas and experiences. Use it well. My name is Anki Hellberg Sågfors, and I want to welcome you all to NordMatch. You in the auditorium, and you following via the live streaming. If you have any questions during these days, you can ask Riikka Wallin, who is the event manager, or Adina Tallberg, who works at the registration desk, or myself. And there will always be someone at the registration desk if you have any questions.
Most likely Adina.
We have a list for registering for the network meetings this afternoon. It's outside, so during the lunch break you can register for that. And there is also another list for tomorrow's study visits, so you can choose between those, and we will also present them later. This afternoon we are working in advisory ring groups, and we have already put you into your groups. And I will say which group you are in just before the lunch break. There is still, for those who haven't registered to be in advisory ring group, we still have a couple of places left, so no worries, you can fit in. NordMatch is about cooperation, and it has been done as a cooperation. There are like 15 different organizations who have been included in the planning, and we are very happy that it's possible to work like this. Now I want to introduce our moderator, Riitta Heinamaa, who is an expert in strategic planning and funding in the field of art and culture. She has worked as director of the Finnish Institute in Tallinn, in Estonia, and also for the Nordic House in Reykjavik. Blessed aside. And also at the Theatre Academy here in Helsinki, and at the Secretariat at the Nordic Council of Ministers in Copenhagen. We are very happy to have you here, Riitta. I know you are an expert in networking as well, which is very much an important theme for us. So I give the floor to you, Riitta. So let's start.
Thank you, Anki, for the kind words. It's always nice when somebody else presents you to have a summary of what you have done. Also, on my behalf, I would like to warmly welcome you here to NordMatch, to Arcada, and to Helsinki and Finland. It's lovely to have you all here. We are actually now, as Anki said, 210 participants from 8 countries. From Finland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Iceland, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. And that is not just all concerning the participants, but we also have here today 3 sectors together, which is quite unusual. So we have culture, we have sports, and we have youth sectors together. And I repeat what Anki says about the overall theme today, together for inclusion. So that will be what we will be concentrating on for the next 2 days together. And it is the organization Creative and Inclusive Finland who is the main organizer for this event. And it's amazing that they have been working together with 11 partner organizations. So I especially want to mention it. And in the program book you find the so-to-called logo landscapes, so you can find all the names of the partners. Oh, here you find the logo landscape. So it's a beautiful landscape to have a look at. And Anki already presented the main event organizers, and I just want to add that if Eureka could stand up and be a model. Thank you. You all see that the organizers, when we ordinary people have a dark ribbon like this, the special people, they have like this color. and you can always be in contact, as Anki said, with the organizers. So you just go after the color. And concerning the arrangements, I would also like to pay a special attention to the collaboration with the students. And today we will have students from Arcada University of Applied Sciences and also students from the Metropolitan University of Applied Sciences working together to make this event a success. And it is appreciated very much. Yes. And the students, they actually have very big ambitions for these 2 days. Among other duties, the students will mingle around and take photos and video shots for the NordMatch social media, but they will also record material for a documentary. And I would like to say, so please, let the students know if you don't want to be filmed, so they will take that in consideration. And before we will go to this day's program, I just would like to mention 2 other things, practical things actually. And this event is partly made by the support from the European Union, and therefore here will be circulating also another participating list today. At the registration there will be, as Anki mentioned, the study visit list and the networking meeting list. But as important as those lists, please make sure that your name is with your original signature in this list. It is utmost important that all participants put their name. So this list will be circulating here today and tomorrow. And finally, please notice also the hashtag. We will go to the next slide. Here you can see the hashtag NordMatch 2017. Use it a lot. I will come back to this issue later on today, so I will not keep quiet on this hashtag. So this was the introduction to the practicalities at this point and this moment. And the next 2 hours we will focus on the first 4 case presentations. And all these case presentations will be streamed online, and you can find the material later on the NordMatch website. And also, I have understood that it's very generous from the presenters, that all the PowerPoint material will be also shared later on at the same website. And we will have a very strict time schedule now in the morning. So that means that we have given each of the presentations 20 minutes. So 20 minutes, so that it includes also, it has a possibility then that we will have also 1 or 2 questions from the audience. And that means that every presenter will have 50 minutes. And Mrs. Rika Wallin, she is the Miss Rika Wallin. She is the brave person who will be managing this tight time schedule for us. And I would like to ask you that if you could please demonstrate your secret weapon. Yes? Could you hear it up there also? Yes. Okay. So this is a very dangerous. I'm sure that when you presenters see your hand already, and then you have other signs also, like this. This is what ambassadors use, you know. 5 minutes, 5 minutes. But I think that the clock is like excellent that you demonstrated this. But now I would like to ask Mrs. Sandra Smona from Latvia, actually the Latvian Society for the Blind, come up and have the first presentation. And Sandra will now share with us some exciting best practices with us concerning the Latvian way to work with young people with disabilities and social inclusion. But before I let Sandra to begin her presentation, I would like you to come to the microphone and answer one question, a personal question, that if you could share with us 3 things that you would never want to give up in your life. Please.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Sandra, and those 3 things, I think it's, first of all, it's laughing, because you always have to be like a positive person. The second one is believing in all good, and the third one is maybe be friendly with the other ones, so get new friends every day. And so, now I'm gonna...
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the 50 minutes, it starts now.
Now, okay.
Can you hear Sandra? Is the microphone okay? Yes, please.
Okay. So I'm representing Latvia, and if can be concrete, then Latvian Society of the Blind. And I'm going to tell a little bit about our organization, and then I will tell you about the youth organization and the projects that we are implementing in the frame of... thank you very much. Latvian Society of the Blind is like the non-governmental, non-profit making organization, and it's founded in 1926. It's almost 100 years old, so we're old ones. And it is the only organization which is representing interests of blind persons. And in Latvia, we have our organization has 11 regional representations, and which is like divided in small organizations and covers all Latvia. And our organization's greatest set is the people who are strengthening confidence of organization about people's equal right and equality. And also we are providing rehabilitation services for the people with visual impairment. We are providing also a monthly magazine, which is for the blind persons in Braille and in audio version. We are providing Tiflotechnik. If you don't know, then Tiflotechnik, it's a special technical aids with sound functions for the blind person, because the best way how to get information for the blind is audio versions, of course. And also we have the local radio, and also we have the daily center for the old people. And we have the youth organization, and of course, in our organization we have 2,500 members And from all these members, only 300 is youngsters. So it's not a lot, but those youngsters who are in our organization, they're very actively and they are taking a part in different kind of projects. And talking about the education in Latvia, we don't have the like one specialized programs of training of visually impaired persons, but we have secondary school, which is located in a blind village, where the young people can get education, primary and secondary. And more often, those people are choosing by themselves suitable future occupation. And it is very nice that the high schools are very open to the students with visual impairment, and they are adapting the studying place for them. And the state covers all technical aids what this person needs. So this is like the integration in the normal, if I can say normal environment, in normal studying processes. But anyway, a blind person needs a support person if he is going to study to another school. There is the example of what kind of professions the blind persons are learning, but in our society we have different kind of occupations. Like we have a blind lawyer, we have a blind text editor, rehabilitator, and even we have a blind person who is a guide, and he is a guide in one city, and the tourists are going to the city, and he is showing all those objects and telling about it. And it's very interesting that the blind person can be a guide. And also we have one blind waiter in a restaurant, and of course you cannot imagine how can he work if he's blind, but all those everything is adapted for this person just to let him work, and he feels very necessary to the society. But we are taking a part in a different kind of projects, and in a framework of European Union and Latvian Ministry of Welfare, we have implemented a lot of projects, and also we had the trainings for the masseur profession, and they get not just a profession but also the education medical, and it's very important to mention that. And of course, blind person works with hands, so the masseur is the best profession for him, I think so. We are cooperating with State Employment Agency, and they are offering for us a very good project, which is the subsidized workplaces. I don't know, probably in the other countries also you have the subsidized workplaces, and the subsidized workplaces, like he can work up to 36 months, and the salary is paid by state. Employer has to pay only the vacation money, and also this person has one-time dotation for adjusting workplace, and sometimes it's the blind person needs maybe special monitor, or maybe a special table or the desk, so you can get one dotation at 711 euros to adapt the workplace. And it is a good chance for the blind person work for 2 years. Then now we are taking a part in a social business platform, and at the moment in Latvia the social business platform unites more than 50 members. There are NGOs, foundations, social enterprises, activists and experts, and it is a very big challenge for all these organizations to move forward, because the social business is in Latvia, it's not like typical, because we are just on a way on it, and we are fighting with the legislation, and but now we are in the process. And in Latvia, since markets in Latvia are rather small, it's not easy to get one's products on service out there. So yeah, we are still working on it. But we had one very good project, and you can see this is the product, which is made by blind persons. We had a cooperation together with Art Academy, and we thought that we have to cooperate with some professionals to make something very good. And this is a product. It's a sitting chair. You probably cannot see that it's a chair, but I don't know this word in English. It's like a... in Latvian, it's puffy. Probably it's the same in the other languages. So it's on the floor, and you can sit on it. And we made it, but it's very special because this technique, it's shibori technique. And this shibori technique is like there is a textile and small pieces of the wood. You put these wood pieces in this textile, wrap in the clothes, and boil in hot water for 5 minutes, and then you take it out and put in a cold water, and you will have this crash effect. And those all skills are adapted for the blind person because you don't need to see, because you can touch these small pieces of the wood, wrap in the clothes, and that's it. So we made a product series. There are pillows as well, and this is how those blind persons can work and do something for themselves. And also we are making the bags, and now we are waiting for the answer from one project, and if it will be yes, like the positive decision, then we will start to make those products and to export to the other countries. Very important is to, for the young people and for the blind people, of course, is to access the information. And we have created a new web page for our organization, and also for the other organizations. You should take notice that in the web pages there should be a chance to change the font sizes, change contrasts, and option to switch to the text version, because for the blind person it's the way how to get the information, like to be independent and do not ask for the others. We have created also the special place for youngsters, which is adapted for them, and they can go and feel free in this room, like place and room. It's equipped with the special technical aids and with furniture. And 2 years ago, we made a video resume for the blind persons because it's very important for the employers to, because employers, they afraid from the blind persons. They don't want to take the blind person for a job if he's job seeker, because they don't know what can he do. And he thinks that if blind people are coming, it's only problems. But it's not only problems, because you just have to a little bit know about this field, and then you can take this person in a job. I have 5 minutes. So we are organizing in spiritual lectures with in society well-known persons. They're coming, they're artists, actors, doctors, and youngsters are coming out of the houses and they want to listen some inspiring stories. Also, we are making some creative classes, and we are cooperating with a lot of kind of NGOs and the organizations other. We are teaching for them handicrafts and trying to do something new skills. And one of my favorite things and the processes are culture, and this is like innovative educational project. We had a musical theater, and we invited professionals in this field. There were those musicians and persons who are working with technical equipment, and they teach them how to sing in a microphone, and they teach them how to move on a stage, and it was very necessary for them. And also for all these blind persons, we invited youngsters from the secondary school who had no problem with the sight, and they were like support persons, one blind and one with a sight person. And those youngsters from the normally schools, they felt very, how to say, they appreciate this possibility to be together, because we worked together for 6 months and we made very interesting and very good musical theater. And now this project is still on his way to the other peoples. And we also had 3 minutes. We also have a project, Darkness Has a Color, and we made this project. The blind persons were painting. I know it seems like not possible, but it was possible because they were painting with the fingers, with the feelings, and these you can see some of the pictures, some of the paintings, and we had an exhibition and people were coming and they were very excited about that. And also we're cooperating with politicians because they have to know about us and we have to know what happens in this field. And actually, we are about celebrating life. You have to celebrate all the time. You have to see everything what is good in this field, not only bad things. And we are trying to make all these events very, rather promote admiration, not the compassion from everything what we are doing. And we are searching for joy over everything. So thank you.
Very good timing.
Yeah. I saw what you were showing to me.
Now we actually do have time for 1 or 2 questions from the audience. So, as you say in Danish, først i mølle. Please.
Hello. Klaus Riederer from Car Limited. Perhaps I...
The mic is inside.
Okay.
Now it's good.
Okay. My first question would be, how do the tax authorities and other authorities support your great efforts for the Latvian blind? Do they get tax redemptions or something like that?
We take the second question also, so you can a little bit think about it. Did you get the question?
No, I did not. Maybe once again, because I didn't. How can we?
How do the tax authorities?
Authorities?
Tax authorities and others.
Tax authorities. What is that?
But especially the tax authorities. So how do they
income taxes.
support your great efforts for the Latvian blind?
So the incomes, what kind of incomes and what kind of taxes? So we are non-profit making organization, so we are not paying the taxes, and all the money what comes in our organization is based on the projects, and also we are implementing state delegated duty. So that means that the state pays for us some kind of money, and we have to provide rehabilitation services, Tiflotechnic aids, and the magazine. And these are all incomes. But the other money comes only from the European funds, like from the projects and private financiers as well, so like donating.
You had a second question also, please.
Yeah. What can the blind persons give us, the sighted people? What do you think? Can they give us methods to improve our spatial hearing skills or whatever? So what can we learn from them?
Well, I think that the blind person can inspire the other people in all ways what they are doing. They are singing, dancing, and they are writing, and there is nothing what they cannot do, because first I saw that they cannot paint, but actually they can paint some beautiful pictures. So I think 1 or 2 hours together with a blind person, it is like 2 or 3 hours with some kind of very famous person, because everything what he says is so so true, and it comes sort of like really from heart. And yeah, I believe that he can see with heart, like not with eyes. But those things that they have done, they're absolutely gorgeous. And I think that if you could come to Latvia, we could show you a lot of things, and our artists, our painters, and everything. So I think that it's good to know that there are different people from us. They're not different, but they are. I think they're a little bit like here, and we are a bit here. Yeah, that's what I think. So.
Do we still have time for one question, or is it the clock, please? Oh, maybe you go a little bit closer. Yes.
Okay, I'm Una, and I lived in Latvia all my life and moved to Finland a few years ago. So I have a question. When I was younger, then we never really saw the blind people except where the villages.
Mm-hmm.
And can you tell, has the situation changed? Are they more in society than they were, for example, 10 years ago?
Mm-hmm. Actually, situation has not changed, because in Latvia there is the village, special village for the blind persons. It's located very close to the nature, but it's still in the capital of Latvia, in Riga. And those people are living there because they have flats, and those flats are for free. So that means why they are living there, because they cannot afford to pay for the rent for the other flats, because it is very expensive. And yes, they are located mostly in this one place, in this village, but also, of course, blind people are living in all Latvia. So that's why we have 11 organizations, our organizations, which are covered whole Latvia. So it's, the blind person can go to this organization. It's like close to his house. But in Riga, there is just one display still. But there are a lot of people living, like maybe some 700 with the blind, with the visual impairment. So, yeah.
Thank you. We will give a big
Thank
hand.
you.
And now the second crossover case presentation will be made by Mrs. Jana Pavlenkova, who comes from Estonia, and she is actually working in Tallinn, the city of Estonia, but also in Narva, the third largest city in Estonia. And I'm sure that we will all be very inspired of the case that she will be presenting, the educational TV show Technolic. And please, before I give you the floor, I will hand you the same question, that could you please name us 3 things that you would never want to give up in your life? And then the microphone is yours. Please come.
Hello from my side, and big thanks that you have invited me. And also thank you very much for Sandra for this such an inspiring first keynote, because I know we have in Tallinn, we have theater for like blind actresses, theater. So it's really amazing. So what I would not give up anyway, first of all, chocolate, no ever. Coffee, no ever. And the third one is almost the same extreme, that I will never give up to say yes to all kind of strange challenges that are coming up into my life, unfortunately.
Thank you. And now you can relax and make the most of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And yes, I just wanted to point out that I'm also really excited to be here, because I've learned that this is a Swedish minority place in Finland, and I'm also representative of so-called Russian-speaking minority from Estonia. But originally I'm coming from Jewish, I have Jewish roots, so I do like this mixture what is very often represented in minorities. So we are like very, very diversified minorities. And what I do in my life, that I really would like to explore the frames and to explore my abilities to do something. And when I see some kind of puzzle missing in my world, I don't have any kind of other possibility as just to contribute and to create this puzzle and to put it into my world. And I would like today to share with you my experience about the physics, how to become a mainstream. And if a normal life of girl in my age, it was filled with the fairy tales and dolls, my life was filled with fantasies, and I was really fond of all kind of sci-fi movies and books and so on. So I was living always in technology and all kind of fantastic worlds. But then I realized that there were some kind of hypotheses and books and effort that our future, the technology can scarify us. So there was always somebody who would say that be aware of the technology. And in this case, we have created, I mean our society has created a new understanding of like the new hypothesis of singularity. That it means that we are afraid that intelligent agent, in some case, would enter the runaway reaction of continuous self-improvement until we cannot manage it, until we just need to escape, or we just be defended by our own creations. And I think that it comes just because we do not understand the technology, what we are creating. We are creating, and then we forget about what we have done. And then we have a new generation which is also not connected with the old technology, and they just consume some kind of results of what we have produced. And this is what I have realized, because I was a little bit helping our schools in teaching technology and microbiology. And I'm just, skip for one slide just to come back that we have in Russian animation culture, we have a very epic cartoon named Hedgehog in the Fog. And if somebody can know that this hedgehog was in the fog, and he thought that there is horse in the fog, and he was like shouting, horse, horse. But then he has realized that there was old there. And that's what I was finding out at schools, that children, they like somehow use the latest models of the iPhones, but they do not understand what the technology is behind. And I decided that we need to do something with it. So I have found this puzzle, what is missing in my world. And at that time I'm still holding the master degree in physics, and I was working as a strategist for government and for local governments. And I was like this very boring, like speaking everywhere about some regional politics mainly. But I wanted to create something to become a mainstream, and I wanted to create a TV show. But I was absolutely no any kind of idea about the media, any kind of idea of TV production or how it goes and from what you should start. So I was really this hedgehog. And then it took 19 months to create my first 19 minutes episode. And then it was started with almost 300 kids in the event I called the Day of Inventors. So I created a TV show about the newest technology. And during this journey, during how I have done it, I just figured out some hints what I wanted to share with you today. So first of all, of course, when working for the government, to being like on a rather secure at working place, it wasn't any kind of necessity for me to go to the TV production. But everything has been started with my friend, who has taken a position as the new TV channel editor-in-chief. And she said, you know, we will make a hackathon. And please come. Just take a random idea and please come. I said, okay. So everything has started with my wish to help my friend. So the first hint is just try to help and love your friends. And of course, the next one, when you look for some kind of TV productions from, I don't know, BBC or from CNN or from, for example, Russian TV production for the children, then you do understand that you are such an amateur. You are even not an amateur, even me on this hackathon, because it was for me like the first time I've tackled out what is episode and what is part and what is some spot and slot and all this stuff, all these new terms for me. But then I realized that I found such a quote that great people do things before they are ready. So here comes my next hint, that do not wait when you are ready and when your knowledge and experience are enough if you want to do something. Because all the experts, what you see around, they have also someday they were just at the beginning. And now you have a more advantage just to use them as to get an inspiration or to get some mentorship. And if you have just taken some kind of new challenge, your new role and the main role what you should to undertake is to be a team builder. So you cannot do anything alone. Everything is about your team. So just take steps to acquire the best ones where you can find them. So when I came to this hackathon, I came with these two young guys who has said me that, okay, we have made some kind of videos and we have some small camera. And then I get girl, she is one of the best organizers of different events in Estonia. And this guy is one of the best designers in Estonia. So they all come together to help me. And we got a runner-up special prize to get a mentorship from BBC mentors. And then we got also grant to create our first pilot of this project. So it was told for Dominica dance at this time. So this was the result of hackathon. So with this result, I came out from the hackathon totally tired, a little bit happy, holding this, not paper, but this kappa, how we call it, with special prize on it. And I said, okay, what's the next? And then now I can say that, yes, the TV production is like real-time strategy arcade to play in your real life. So what you should do and how you should start. And for Technolic, for this TV production, we have created this like arcade approach that Technolic is like holder of this TV show, that he should collect different stuff during his journey to solve the problem and to create something by himself in the technology. So just to collect some artifacts. And it's very applicable for any kind of challenges you take in your life. So first of all, as Technolic, I also went to get the best knowledge. So I went to the professors. As Technolic goes in the TV show, he goes to the university to meet professor. And for me, it's the same. I've got mentors from Tallinn, from Sweden, from Finland, and also from England, from Children BBC. Then I wanted to get an inspiration, and we were invited to Children BBC to work there for 2 days and to see how the best TV programs are made. So we were really excited about the technology, about the colors, about the way of how do they communicate. And then you need to try your hands on. So we were working also in the so-called back offices, learning the language, what these cool guys are using, how they put all these pictures together, and what kind of tips they can share with us, and so on. And then it was a time to create our own story. So it's me in Manchester, just after the 2 days working with CBBC guys who are really amazing. And from that, I just understood that if you want to do something, they just make it clear what are you for, and try to push forward. And one more rule for me, what I just put on my table, that I need to trust and believe in my team, because when we were very tight like all the amateurs, we were very tight in budget, but there were always something that they just needed, just one another camera, just one another audio person, just one another lighting person, or whatever. So it was just some kind of mess. But then I said, okay, if you say so, okay, let's go for it. And of course, if you do something new, then it's really amazing how the whole team is very focused and working just to get the purpose and just to get what you have imagined how it should be. And then the main is to be an inspiration and to inspire in others. So it is one of my favorite pictures from this Day of Inventors, when all these 300 young guys were trying to share with me their experience, how they have been inventing, how they have been researching the newest technologies. And what I like to do during all my initiatives, that I like to provide tailored value, not only for so-called like target group, as we used to use it in project management, but also to provide the value for the team members. For example, I don't know, is it possible to show somehow here? So this woman, she was playing a professor. She's a real professor from the Italian Technical University. And thanks to the participation in this program, now she is working for NASA. And for example, this guy, the hoster of the TV show, thanks to this program, because he was aired on national, because this TV technology was aired on national broadcasting, he is now working in Sydney Main Museum as a guide. So this is why we do all this. And this is my landscape of my logos and sponsors and so on. Yes, I love it too, because of course there is, but you know, one more tip what you can take from me, that first of all, ask money from your partners, and then ask for advice and mentorship. And if they give you money, then they will give you an excellent advice, because their money is in place. So this is what I wanted to share with you. Thank you. I just maybe add one word, that this TV show, the first pilot, was produced in Russian. So it was specially designed for the Russian speakers and on Russian, children who were engaged, they were from Russian-speaking schools.
Thank you for an excellent presentation with a lot of good practices and a lot of also I was all the time thinking, when you have this positive approach with everything going fine and with all these positive things, that if this would have been maybe a Finnish case, we would have taken a lot of failures and mistakes up. So this was really positive to not to just hear the challenges, but also to hear the positive signals and have this inspiration. But now, please, audience, it's your turn to have the special microphone again. She will throw it in the end of the auditorium. So please. Anki? Okay.
I have a question. How many episodes have you done from the Technolic?
For the pilot, we have created 4 episodes, and now we are designing 12 episodes as a second season. No, it's not necessary to be always with questions.
No. Anybody? This is a good opportunity. Or maybe if somebody would like to reflect what was the most inspiring part of this experience. I think it was quite bold to change over from one position what you were working with in a totally like other field and adopt like a new field and take your roots with you to the new field and to the media TV world and have this scientific like background. So it was a good combination. It really has some crossover effect and something new. As a result, and so many people have been believing and wanted to work together with you and have cooperation in a large scale.
Yeah, but the toughest thing is, if to be honest, was about it is just my like hobby because
Yes.
because of course I still have my other positions and projects.
Yes, nice hobbies.
So the time management was the toughest.
Please,
Yeah.
the first question, and then it was over here in the.
My question is, I see you have many collaborators, like you're working across many institutions. Were there, or maybe just an open question, what were the main challenges on the way?
To work with so many of different partners.
Or just an open question without that, just what were the main challenges?
So
on
for
the way?
me personally, the main challenge was really because of it's a new stuff. So for me, it was challenging to understand the pipeline of the TV production and to get together the right persons to convince them to work very often for free, just for my blue eyes, and then of course to discipline myself about this time schedule, that when you run in your daily work, then how to cut out the time to create, to write down the script, to make all these negotiations with the partners, to be friendly with your team, which is sometimes doing whatever they want to do. Or like you just think that, oh my God, what are they doing? Or sometimes when, for example, at 4 o'clock in the morning, you would just get the first draft of the episode, and you see that there are very big like mistakes from scientific point of view, and so what? It's not seconds, it's just minutes or whatever. And then they are very disrupted, and then they are like, they have been working like night long, and I am so bizarre that I criticize them. So it's just how to put your emotions like on the backside. You just take your next chocolate and go forward.
And coffee too.
And coffee, of course, like to put sugar work for you.
Could you throw the microphone over here? Thanks. Please, next question.
Thanks. This is actually a reason why I didn't want to ask the question, because I didn't want to have to catch the box in front of a big group of people, but I managed okay. So,
Yes.
thank you so much for this presentation. I have many questions and many thoughts, and I hope to ask you maybe later on in the next 2 days. But I come from another Swedish-speaking university here in Helsinki. It's called Hanken School of Economics. And I teach there business students, but I also have been very active in a research institute that tries to engage and facilitate a dialogue on gender equality and inclusion within business and society. And one thing that we have been really trying to do is digitalize knowledge and produce knowledge, because I think that the production of knowledge is one way to really empower and include many voices. And I wanted to hear your thoughts about the children that you engaged with when you were producing this TV show. What were their experiences with being almost the producers of the knowledge to make this TV show possible?
Thank you. Excellent question, because I was, for a long time, I was engaged as a government representative. I was engaged in all kind of, we call it integration programs. It's like inclusive programs. And I was always against of this going of, in general, to approach this inclusiveness, because I do strongly believe that there should be only some kind of communities or very focused topics to build up this dialogue between different communities. So, and for me, for example, business is my daily work. I work with the startups. So for me, I do know how to, so for it, daily based, I work with how to put different societies, different communities to work together, because to build up some new startups or some new businesses. And here, for children and for youngsters, it's very important if you trust them, and if you say that they are very valuable members of the society, and if you give them an opportunity to get this positive experience, that they are on a main TV show, that TV today is not only for celebrities, for some kind of guys existing, I don't know where, but that TV and everything what's going on in this world is going on just here, now. So, and if you are now creating something, then it's your world, and you are creating our world. And this is maybe seems like very big words, but children, and maybe me also, as never grown up, then I do believe that this approach can be, in some case, very useful, that you really believe that you are doing something for this world, not only, oh, it's so a small conference, just 200 persons, and oh, what I'm doing here, I don't know. So yes, we are changing the world every day, every second, and with this approach, and if you can hype up a little bit this around them, that there are so many of cameramen and audio and everything, and you give them some kind of diplomas, they are really excited about it. I do believe that all these guys who has been participating in this project, they will be more further and more higher than some NASA or whatever.
Thank you for the inspiration. I see that maybe we would have to go further in the program. And we will continue the program with Mrs. Siv Vik, who comes from the northern part of Norway, from Tromsø. And Siv runs a creative hub for young people, and the hub is called Tvibit. And we are very eager to hear what are the keys behind this success story. I have Googled a little bit. But anyway, also, Siv will get this question that what would you never give up in your life? Please approach. And I would like to say that we still have the same cup of water here, so it's fresh and fine. So you can just use this one, please. But first the question.
Hello. The question, that's a very difficult question to answer, I think. For me, first of all, love. I cannot live without love. It's very, very important to me. Second, I think traveling and always experiencing new things, getting new input. And third, doing new things every day, doing things that scare me, like this. I'm a bit scared. but I mean, looking at you guys and all those happy, friendly faces, I feel good.
Yeah, I just want to add that I think that this last answer, that doing scary things every day, it's a good introduction to Tvibit also. Please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I will just 2 sentences before the video. No, just wait. Yep. Yeah. I'm here to tell you about Tvibit and about how I, through my 18 years of working with young people, have seen how innovative methods of youth work and empowerment of young people have transformed a city and a whole region. And first I will show a very short film, and then I will talk about our experiences. So I come from Tromsø. Thanks. I come from Tromsø in the northern part of Norway. And with its 75,000 inhabitants, Tromsø is the largest city in the northern area. Compared to other cities in Europe, Tromsø is very, very small. But when you speak to some of the people that live there, you might think that Tromsø is a city of 1 million inhabitants. That is because we have the mentality of a metropolis of millions, and we compare ourselves to New York, Berlin, and Tokyo. It's completely crazy, I know, but I think it has to do with the fact that when you live so far north, you have to do everything yourself. You cannot expect anyone to do anything for you. And this creates a mentality of independence and a force of implementation. And Tromsø is a very young city. Out of our 75,000 inhabitants, 10,000 are between the ages of 15 to 25 years old. We're also a university city, so in addition to those 10,000 young people, we also have about 10,000 students, making Tromsø one of the cities in Norway with the highest density of population under 30 years old. And this is a massive resource for the city and the whole region. We're also so fortunate to be a very international city. People from 144 nationalities from all over the world live in Tromsø, making the city multicultural and innovative. But I'm here to talk about Tvibit, the youth center which opened 17 years ago. Tvibit is a creative hub for young people and young professionals in the city center of Tromsø. It is run by the local municipality, the Department of Culture and Sports, and has for 17 years worked with empowerment of young people through cultural activities and autonomous projects, which basically means that projects are run by the young people themselves. And last year, we moved into the building that you just saw in the video after 16 years in a different, much smaller venue. We moved into the old fire station, which we renovated extensively to fit our needs. It is a building now of 3,000 square meters, 4 floors of creative space for public use for free. And today we have 19 employees in the core management of the house and approximately 2,500 visits per week. That's a lot of visits. 2,500 visits per week. It's a lot. The main target group has always been young people from 15 to 25 years old. And Tvibit is a safe arena for young people to explore different fields and challenge the expectations that the grown-ups have towards young people. We also emphasize being an open center where young people can easily become involved in new activities and environments. And we work mainly project-based and peer-to-peer. So you've seen some of the content on the film and the photos behind me, but what I want to talk about is our methods and our way of thinking. But then I have to turn the time back 20 years. It feels a long time ago, but it also feels like yesterday. So in the 80s and the 90s, there was a completely different atmosphere in Tromsø. We had youth riots in the city, and the existing youth house was closed down due to problems with drugs and alcohol. This was a big embarrassment for the city. I mean, you can just imagine having a youth house where young people use drugs. So the overall view among adults in Tromsø was very negative towards the younger population, and they were especially against having activities for young people in the center of the city. And that's where the story of Tvibit begins. So in 1999, the politicians miraculously agreed to establish a new youth house in the city center. And we were 5 relatively young people who were given the task to create this new youth center. We were all fresh out of university and had absolutely no idea what we were doing. And we had no experience with youth work whatsoever. And I think that that was one of the reasons for our success. You see, traditional youth work in Norway in the 80s and 90s was, in my opinion, extremely negative and focused primarily on crime and drug prevention and to keep young people away from anything that would be potentially harmful for them. So we set out to make the youth center that we ourselves would like to have had when we were younger. We were inspired by the frontrunners and chaos pilots in Denmark, who were young people who spent all their time making projects to transform their own life and their surroundings. We were also inspired by the old youth house that was closed down, because what the politicians and media didn't say was that there were a lot of extremely innovative activities and projects going on there, because the young people were totally free to make the content of the activities themselves. So we made a cultural youth house focusing primarily on music, film, and all kinds of autonomous projects, which could basically be anything. But most importantly, it was based on the values of empowerment, trust, and a positive view on young people. The method that we use is simply project-based participation, teaching young people methods of creating their own projects and achieving their own dreams, and in that way actively changing their own lives, their local society, and the city as a whole. Because we believe that everyone has a dream or something that they feel very passionate about, regardless of your background or your issues. Everyone is a positive resource if you focus on their strengths, their interests, and what they are good at. And the method is really simple. We have the resources, the house, the equipment, the money, the network, the experience, the mentoring, and etc. And the young people have ideas and dreams. So Tvibit is fueled on young people's dreams. For 17 years, we have given young people mentoring, keys to the house, yes, they are there when we are not, and access to all the equipment and facilities for free. We also give them money from our own budget to make their projects. They think it's a sack of money. It's basically just our activity budget that we give to them instead of making activities ourselves. And this has led to hundreds of autonomous projects every year. Like that. So based on this, I want to share 5 things that I've learned from our experience and mistakes that we've made through 17 years. Of course, we made a lot more mistakes and learned a lot more, but Rika is counting, so time is short. First, ideas. The idea itself is not that important. It is the fact that it's their idea that is important. And our job is to find out what they are passionate about because they need to own their idea. But the path from idea to action needs to be very short. Second, balance. It is important to have a balance among the users of your services. And with balance, I don't mean 50-50, because there will always be people with negative forces and negative impact on the group. And the negative forces are so much stronger than the positive ones, so you need a lot more positive forces to counterbalance the negative ones. Maybe 70-30, maybe 80-20. We learned this the hard way, actually, 10 years ago. We had two guys working in the cafe. They had dropped out of school and came from an environment of smoking pot and doing petty crime. We thought that 2 out of 100 wouldn't be a problem and that we would have a positive impact on them. But what happened was that their friends started hanging out there, and suddenly the other kids didn't want to be at the center anymore. They just sensed that the atmosphere had changed and that Tvibit was not a positive place to be anymore. And it happened so quickly. Within 2 weeks, the whole clientele changed. The outreach services in the city were thrilled because now they could reach all their subjects in one place, but we were terrified, and that was a real wake-up call for us. 3, real youth participation. There are unfortunately too many youth workers who have no idea how to implement youth participation. Real youth participation means giving young people the method, resources, and power to implement their own ideas and beliefs in the way they see fit, not just choosing colors on the walls or give input on activities that are already led by the youth workers themselves. 4, trust and responsibility. I often hear youth workers saying that I can't get my young people to take responsibility. How do you get your young people to take responsibility? First of all, they are not your young people. And second, it is my experience that it's not the young people who are reluctant to take responsibility. It is us grown-ups who are reluctant to let go. People will only take responsibility when they are given responsibility. It's as easy as that. Just let go. And believe me, it gets easier after a few years. But the good thing about letting go is that when they succeed, they get all the credit. That builds confidence, increased self-esteem, and coping skills. And when they fail, they learn that failing might hurt, but it won't kill you. Which leads me to 5, failure. Failed projects are the best projects. By this, I mean that they are the basis of learning and developing new skills. If you make a perfect project, you have just recreated what you already know. You have not learned anything new, and you have not contributed with anything new. And young people today are especially good at boxing themselves in, making boundaries for what they can and dare to do. It is our job to open their horizon and challenge them to think outside the box. So for us, we saw the change in the city's attitude after about 5 years. Then we realized that the grown-ups and politicians had noticed that the young people made a positive impact in the city, and the whole attitude changed. Now, 17 years later, both Tvibit and the city are totally different. First of all, we moved into this amazing building that is 3 times bigger than the old one. But it took 10 years of extremely hard work, lobbying, getting money, proving ourselves. But now all the politicians are patting themselves on the back for having the biggest youth service in Norway. And the definition of Tvibit expanded. Tvibit today is a production and resource center for amateurs and professionals in music, youth culture, young health, film, and creative industries. This means that we have professional and semi-professional artists recording and working in-house alongside young people. And the main target group is still 15 to 25 years old, but we also work with younger and older groups in the music and creative industries. And so far, mixing age groups and different expressions are going very well, but of course we have challenges, and financing is a continuous struggle. But we work immensely on the ground level still, because there is a new generation every year, and without new people, new ideas, and new projects, we do not evolve. And if we do not evolve, we die. So Tvibit is not the same as we were 15 years ago, and I pray that it will not be the same 5 years from now either. I think our journey has just begun. And if I can buy 1 minute from Rika, I have a very short story. Okay. Because to summarize, I want to tell a very short story. Because 15 years ago, 2 18-year-old girls, they had dropped out of school, and they wanted to make a free 1-day outdoor music festival called North of Nowhere. They had no organizing experience at all. So they started out wrong with the idea that if the festival is free for the audience, you don't need any money to organize it. That's a bad idea. They also did not have the right equipment or facilities like toilets, etc. And if you're expecting 1,000 people to show up, you definitely need toilets. So they eventually realized that they were in trouble and came to us just weeks before the festival was about to happen. We helped as much as we could, and the festival was carried out through okay. But the girls were disappointed because this was not what they had envisioned. What we did was to challenge them to do it again next year, but this time, of course, more young people got involved, and we did it with our mentoring and network. So the next year, this festival was, one.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to
That's fine. That's fine. So next year, this festival won the prize of the best rock festival in Norway. My point is not that it won the prize. My point is that people behind the festival were 17 to 23 years old. And if they have been over 30, they would never have dared to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Siv, for sharing this with us, and especially the five keys.
Yeah. I'm not sure if everybody agrees on those five, but we'll see.
We have again the possibility to up over there, the first one. Oh, please. You can throw it. Oh, please.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Nico, and I just wanted to ask, I know you're getting your funding from the government, right?
Sorry?
Where do you get your funding? And also, second question is, do you make profit, or are you a non-profit institution?
I start with the first. We're a non-profit institution run by the local municipality, the city of Tromsø. But our funding is always a patchwork of all different kinds of, like, local, regional, national, Nordic, Barents, European, even the Norwegian Peace Corps, we have different projects. So because we run, basically we're project-based, so all the different finances come to the projects. Thank you.
Oh, super. Next one. Oh.
Yes, they do. And we also teach them how to apply for funding or sponsorships or for their projects, absolutely.
I would like to ask, how is now that you've been operating for such a long time and new generations come into the space, but also others leave. So what is the relationship with the ones that have kind of outgrown? Are they sad that they are kicked out, or what kind of community is built from the people that have already been there?
That's a very good question, because after 17 years, of course, many of them are grown-ups. But I think people sort of, it's almost like they never leave. They carry it with them. If you've been active at Tvibit, you carry it with you to whatever, when you go to education or to work. Now we have Tvibit people all over the world, and they also contribute back because it's like Hotel California. You can check out, but you can never leave. It's like, because every time they come back and contribute in workshops or as mentors or just to tell their stories.
Is there anybody who is like further away from Malta? You can throw that way, or Elena?
One comment. It was really nice to hear that it took 5 years or 10 years, because usually we have money for 1 year and then it's cut off or something like that. So
yeah. You have to make long-term plans and stick to it, because it might take many, many years before you see the results.
Thank
thank you for your very, very great project, and it's beautiful work. And what about do you have cooperation with your music institutes, arts institutes? It is very beautiful that this is free for young people, so everybody can come and start to make music, dance, and everything. And what about when somebody has want to be like a professional or continue very much about these skills? Do you have this kind of cooperations? How to continue this devoting to the one or several things?
Well, actually, after the first 5 years, we saw that we had to build an extra level because the young people starting to become very professional, either as project managers or in their particular fields. So then we actually started also working with creative industries, teaching them how to take this further. So now, for us, there is no divide between being an amateur or being also working in the creative field, because what I think is very important for especially local youth work, and especially if you're far away from the capital, is that you have to show the young people that they can go all the way in their own region. And they have to see that instead of thinking, oh, I have to get a normal job, it's actually possible to become a musician or a filmmaker or a festival director or whatever it is, if that is your dream. So we have the whole spectrum now.
I also have a question. That maybe it would also like to. I like to hear you to explain what the name Tvibit means.
The name Tvibit.
Or do you know what it means? No.
People in Norway don't even know what it means. It's a very, very local expression that we use in the north when we play a game like tag, what you call it, when you run after someone and say you're it. And then you have this like a tree or a circle or something, which is the safe place where nobody can catch you. Do you have that in Finland as well? Yeah. So in the northern Norway, it's called Tvibit. In the south, they say fritt. So they have no idea what I'm talking about when I say Tvibit. But it's the safe, it's a safe space where nobody can catch you.
But as in Tromsø, you said you are also Tromsø. Tokyo, New York, and Berlin. So then you say Tvibit. I do understand. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I would just take the opportunity to say I see that there are many people here in our target group. So if you ever want to go to Norway, don't go to Oslo. Come to Tromsø. Yeah. And we will be there.
Yeah. Now, before we go to the last case presentation, I would like to ask you, how many of you have already used the hashtag NordMatch 2017? Good, about 1/3 of you. I will ask this later on again. But you're doing fine. 1/3 is fine at this point of the day. And now we are ready for Mr. Bengt Andersson from Sweden. And we will hear the presentation of the case Link, New Place for Young Companies. And this is an amazing case, I think, that how you can identify a need or a problem, and also how you can find a solution for it. And Bengt works as an artistic director at Riksteatern. And formally it's called the National Touring Theatre of Sweden. And also, I would like you to reveal 3 personal things that you would never give up in your life. And after that, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello. What would I not give up in my life? Yeah. Maybe it could be sailing, because I love the intention of just doing it, not where you're going, the way you're going. I will not give up, I'm kind of old-fashioned, so I will not give up paper newspapers. I'm reading them as I'm addict to that. And then I will not give up my own curiosity, because I got it from my mother, who was very curious of everything, and I tried to take care of that one. So I try not to do the same thing that I did yesterday all the time.
Thank you. Now I see. Okay, I think that you don't have any time at all, but Anki is having the popcorn. So your 50 minutes now.
Now, okay. Then I try to make it like this also, maybe. So länk, or link in English. New place for young audience. New place for young people performing them. Theater plays. Scripts, you may say in English. Why did we start this? We started this in 2011. And the reason was this. There was almost no contemporary play written for young companies. Almost no play at all, even not the classic plays, who have many roles for women. Very few plays was age appropriate to the cast like this. And the cast like this is from 10 to 15 or something like that. And no large cast plays that addresses subjects that engage young people. That was the reason why we started it. Oh, and then I wrote like that. What we did, we started to commission from the best playwriters that we have in Sweden to write specific for the young cast, for the young people. And this is the companies that are into Länk. The first year it was 25, I think. The next year it was almost 50. Third one was over 60, and now it's 74 groups in Sweden who are actually into this performance, this project. And here you could see the different groups that are involved in it. Here you could see a group. The play is called Jonathan, written by Matthias Brunn, who is a kind of melodramatic play about two homosexual boys and the group pressure on them with the love and like that. A lot of group were playing that performance last time. There is another group that you could see with a large casts, with many female or gender-neutral roles. It should be a subject that engage the young participants. It doesn't mean that it have to be performed in a schoolyard or something like that, but it have to be a subject that are interested for the young kids. And it's about approximately 60 minutes long. We will also take care of all the right stuff, the right to play the performance. Every group have the right. If they participate, they could play the performance 5 times without any money put into the author or some company or nothing like that. And then they also could play on this regional festival and the national festival. Who is the writer this time? You will see them. There is Mariwan Hosseini, who is writing The Periphery, which is talking about the kind of history that calling for a boy living in Sweden. He's living in Sweden together with a girl, living in this family, but he suddenly get in love with another girl. And if he leave the family, he have to leave Sweden. So it's a kind of migrant story, very, very specific for the roles. Dennis Kelly, we transformed that from the project in London, or in England, I should say, because it's National Theatre running Connections, which is the mothership of Länk. Niklas Kolosov with Love from Kos, where a young group of kids are in Greece and they find a refugee boy, they think, who are they going to take with them to Sweden, and then suddenly they find out that this boy is a girl and have dressed herself as a boy to survive. Nina Tersman, The Impossible Physics is a kind of science fiction way of that Dennis Magnusson have written. Nina Tersman is about the environmental story. And Manda Stenström is a kind of reverse new way of looking on the fairy tales of Disney fairy tales, or actually the old-fashioned fairy tales, and make them for a kind of new today's company's world. A lot of group will perform this one next year when it's performing time. How do we then do to make them to investigate into all the leaders who is running this? Well, we make this the director's weekend, we call it. The director, it means that all the leaders of the different groups come to Stockholm. We let them meet the director, who has also read the play, and we let them meet the author. And then we have a workshop according to the plays, and also other workshop, so that it became a kind of educational weekend. Then we're providing opportunity for the teachers and the company leaders to develop their directing skills. There we have the different develops that we do on this directing weekend. Especially voice for young actors is a very sought after workshop. And of course, if you have the opportunity to meet a professional director and the author of the play, you could address your thoughts, your question directly to them, to make it grow in your hands when you are working with the classes and the young people who is performing it. This is a picture from last time, not this year's director, but it's 2015, and last length 2016. We also do this, I have this over here also. Every year we make a new handbook saying, this is things you should thought of. Think of this, help with making posters, making everything that you could have. Every question you have, we hope that we have an answer on that in this folder. There you could see one of the performances for a couple of years ago from Cybergymnasiet in Malmö, my hometown. And then every group play the performance in their home local. And they encourage to work closely to the local organization. Riksteatern is an organization where we have 240 local non-profit organizations, and we have 40,000 members, so that they could work closely to them. Here is another performance called Children of Killers, written by Katori Hall. Katori Hall, it's a play about this murders that was committed in Rwanda, something like 15 years ago. It's a very dark and very, very special play that young people really find a way and keys to open up to according to their own world. There you can see a couple of the posters that everybody do. This 2018, it's a biannual festival. So 2018 in the spring, there will be 11 performance festivals in Sweden and one national festival at Riksteatern in Stockholm. And groups are going to this different regional festival and meeting each other and see each other performances. And here you can see the schedule of the work. So every group actually play on this regional festival. Today it's almost 1,000 young people who is into the performances and rehearsing just now. In the end, it will be something like 10,000 audience all over Sweden. We have also then another main thing was also to publish the plays, the script after we have made them, commissioned them, so that they are now living a new life with all amateur groups in Sweden, and they suddenly have a bibliothèque of new written plays that they continually play. Have you seen me again? The National Festival is in Stockholm. Riksteatern having a huge house, including 6 separate theaters and rehearsal room over that. And it's a kind of headquarter for Riksteatern where we make performances. And then we tour all over Sweden. This is the calendar. Maybe it's not so interesting, but it's a biannual. So it takes 2 years to have a new festival of Link. Here you see the history of it. We started in 2010, and then 2012 was the first festival year, 14, 16, and now we're working on 18, and we are planning for the 2020. It does exist for example, in Finland. Nuori, I cannot speak Finnish, but Nuori Nättömää, is it something like that? And the guy who is the project leader of this is called Edward Buffalo Bromberg. He is actually now in Sao Paulo this week to make the connection with the connection group in Sao Paulo. And that was the end of my presentation. Please give me some questions.
Before I give the questions to the audience, I will ask that you mentioned that the original concept came from London, from the National Theatre.
Yes.
And you also said that now there's also some activities going on already in Finland.
Yeah.
So what would be your best advice to take the first steps if some organizer would like to begin to adopt this concept in another country? Because we have 8 countries now here, so it would be very good if you could little bit open it up how it was in the... Because you are an existing organization.
Yeah.
Does it mean that it is necessary to have an existing organization as a platform then?
Maybe it's a good advance to have it, but I don't know if you really need it. But Steve said something. Try to look upon it in the longer terms, because Riksteatern, when I started the Riksteatern in 2011, this was a project that was meant only to be 1 year or 2 years. It's a 2 years project, and I said it couldn't be only one time. It should be glamorous for the project leader to make this new fantastic project, but for the young people, it doesn't change anything. Keep it going, I should say. Try it, keep it going, and it will grow by itself, and it will grow with the young people. That is why. And I could say also, we do work now on a Nordic co-production between Finland, Sweden, and Norway, and we commissioned a new play that 3 different writers write, one Finnish, one from Norway, and one from Sweden. It's called Migrants. It will be a kind of summer camp here in Finland, in Tampere. So it will become a summer camp from the groups from these 3 countries, and they join together and make a new performance, and they will play it in the Tampere International Festival this upcoming summer. So this is the next step for us, just now.
Actually, I have a second question before the audience. Sorry. But in your organization in Riksdaten, and you said that you began this in 2011, and now you have been continuing it for several years. How big part does these activities form nowadays of your whole organization?
Small.
Small.
I mean, this is a big project, but Riksdaten
Yes.
is huge.
Okay, yes.
We are making kind of 40 performances every year running around the country.
Yes.
I run the Children and Youth Department. We're making kind of 5 to 7 performances, perform all over Sweden. Meeting a lot of people. We do have also started a similar project according to dance and to it's similar to this one, but not exactly the same.
So it doesn't. It hasn't had a snowball effect on the whole organization as a whole.
Yeah, but actually say that there was a young girl going to Malmö to see a performance with his father, and by the way home she said, "Father, we have to move from Ljungby. We couldn't live here because I couldn't do anything on what I saw in Malmö." But why not? It couldn't be like that, said the father. And they started to Google. They found Länk. They started then we need a group. So they get the group in Ljungby. It's a small city in the southern part of Sweden. They got a group. They started to rehearse this performance. They became more and more getting money from their community, and now they have got 3 million Swedish crowns to start a culture house in Ljungby, running for 3 years. So it's actually started with Länk, but it actually became the beginning of something like that you presented from Tromsø, and it's a culture house out in nowhere.
And now, please, the cube is yours. 1 or 2 questions? Over there is the first one, and there's the second one.
I would like to ask, it's like involves to that what you just said, that has it been some studies of the effect to the youth that has been playing on the theater, like professional plays, that has anyone studied the youth that has been making these huge theater projects? That what's the impact to the youth?
Nobody have studied that, but I could say that I'm constantly get new actors that I put in the performances, and the first one now said, "I started with Länk in 2011, and after that I became fascinating of theater, and then I got to the high schools of theater high school, and now I'm just graduated."
That would be really interesting, because that's the what actually the finance section needs.
Yeah.
What's the impact?
Yeah.
And then when you show the impact, then you get more money, or like proper way of financing things and structure and everything like that.
Yes. But I could say also that all these teachers are actually, by their practice, they also gaining a lot of knowledge. Yeah. That is kind of, you could say it is kind of the silent knowledge. No. Something like that. And we have now initiate and starting academic education for the leaders. So the leaders can apply and go to this course, and then they use their own work as a part of the studies, and then they also, of course, go writing things and like that. And it's on the Stockholm High School, University of Stockholm, who is running that together with Riksdagen.
Sounds very interesting, and also if you think social studies, also in Finland there's some research and some projects that are arts and culture as a welfare and empowerment, and that's also what you do actually.
Yeah.
but it would be really nice to have some studies, and then you can also here in Finland, as we involve different projects, so it's really nice to have examples. So it's been working here.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
And the next is behind you, next row.
Hi, I'm Carolina, and I would like to ask how young actors become actors part of LENG. Do they have to apply, or how do you find them?
No, it's actually, it's not individual. It's a group who is applying. Then they commission to be part of LENG, and then they have these 5 different script that they have to put one of them on stage. And the group is either a kind of, it could be ordinary high school. It could be high school directed for arts in one way. It could be amateurs. It could be some group, something else. We do not put any rules for that so much, and it's not applying at all. Everybody who is signing and going with it are into it. And of course, it could be too big for us, of course. But now it's 74 groups. It began with 26 or 24. So and we still think we could run it.
Thank you.
Let's see in the spring.
Thank you. I think it was really, really interesting. And it was also interesting to hear about that, how strict the concept is with the large cast and 60 minutes and so on. That you are like in a safe concept. And then it's other things going on. But please don't go away, because I would like also to have Sandra, Jana and Siv coming up, because the organizers would like to thank you all with a small gift. So, Sandra Smona, Jana Pavlenkova, Siv Vik and Bengt Andersson. And first the presents and then applause. Thank you.
Thank you.
And please use the opportunity, as Siv said, it would be a pity if you would not network with these presenters now when they are here. So use the opportunity and be bold and go to speak with them with your own thoughts and your own ideas and projects and questions that you are wondering over. We will continue the program, so that I will put this microphone away and go to the other one. Okay, the program will continue, so that I will ask Anki Hellberg-Sågfors to come here to present the advisory ring method. And also I have understood that her advisory ring team would be here somewhere close to you. And when you are preparing for this, I would like to say some practical information about the rest of the program today. And first, it's about these network meetings. As it was mentioned early in the morning, please go and sign your name in the participation list. It is, the lists are on the wall at the registration desks. And the network meetings are in the evening. It will be from 6 p.m. to 7:30 today in the evening. And there will be, as you can see in this slide, there will be 4 different kind of topics. And they are very different in the teams. So please pick the team that you are most interested in. And also, I would like to mention and say some words of the party tonight, because after a hard day's work, we definitely need a party together this evening. Yes, and it will be in this building. So necessarily you don't have to go out of the building at all today. You can just stay here to party, but we have to be out from the building at 11 o'clock in the evening. So about 10 o'clock the party will begin, 8 o'clock, but about 10 o'clock we will slowly begin to leave so that the building will be empty. And we will, at the party, we will actually really be pampered this evening. 8 o'clock we will begin so that we will have some music, some food, we will have a buffet, and also some wine. I saw it yesterday. Yes. And after that we will have again Funkable 5 playing for us live. And I'm very happy also to inform you that all members in Funkable 5, they are students that have been studying in Metropolia. And especially remember the name Hanne-Maija Rouwali. It's an easy Finnish name, you know. Hanne-Maija Rouwali. Because she is the lovely singer of the band. And and yes, as I was just saying, that in NordMatch these 2 days, it's very much encouraged that it's allowed to speak with strangers. So use this opportunity for these two days. Especially, don't leave the party if you haven't got familiar with at least 2 or 3 new people that you haven't been speaking or met before. So I will try also to mingle around and present you to each other, even if I don't know any of you. But anyway, I will try to do it. So, and before I give the mic to Anki, I would also like to say a word of the program tomorrow morning. Because we are starting very early, 9:15, and then we will have a pitching workshop. And this will be an excellent opportunity to all of us who have never been pitching our ideas before. And Anki will be leading the workshop, and after this workshop we will have a pitch that we can use to convince our financiers to sell our ideas. So this is a good training opportunity, so I would like you to grab it with 2 hands. Because here is a good atmosphere of confidence, so we can use this opportunity together. But now I think that how many of you have attended an advisory ring before? Okay, about 10 of 200. Very nice. Because then definitely you will have now the floor, Anki, because the only thing that I can say about this method that I already know that my group is called Dolphins. Please, Anki.